My joy is gone, grief is upon me, my heart is sick. So begins Jeremiah's lament. The prophet's voice shakes with pain. It's easy to think that prophets have it all together. We imagine them always as those thundering judgment who shout out what's wrong with the world and boldly do so in the faces of those who are doing it. But in today's scripture, we see Jeremiah not thundering, but weeping. The prophet, it turns out, is more than a mouthpiece for God's will. The prophet also carries the wounds of God's people, whose own heart breaks in response to the world's brokenness. Now, God gave Jeremiah a hard word to carry. He was not sent with promises of quick relief or easy hope to begin with. Instead, he had to tell his people that Babylon was coming. He had to warn folks that Jerusalem would fall, the temple would be torn down. An imminent political and military threat was advancing, and Judah would be conquered. Now, this would have been utterly horrifying to hear, and it's no wonder that few wanted to listen to it. But even during this catastrophic and chaotic time, Jeremiah listened to the heartache of the people. He took in the devastation in the streets. He didn't just blast his message and hide from its impact. He took it in. And what we see is that it broke him open. He then took all of that hurt to God, crying out, "Oh, that my head were a spring of water and my eyes a fountain of tears, so that I might weep day and night." Now, what I think is important is that not one of us, I don't think, would hear this lament of Jeremiah's and name it as evidence of weakness. Do you? Do you listen to his cries and think, man, he's so weak? To my mind, it's faithfulness. To feel the pain of the world and to share in God's own aching love. That's strength and faith. But when it comes to us, for one reason or another, we're not nearly as generous with our hurts. We limit, I do believe, what we lament by either cutting it off short or just kind of silencing it altogether. We keep it bottled up inside, festering in unuttered pain, and it's not good. Our faith tradition offers us much better alternatives than to keep us in this sin-sick space, in unexpressed pain of being human. Ellen Davis, biblical scholar, writes about lament and where it can take us, how it can physically and spiritually work to help us move with our grief, move through it. She explains that biblical laments regularly trace a movement from complaint to confidence in God, from desperate petition to anticipatory praise. Yet they make that move without ever telling us that the external situation has changed for the better. What did change is the writer's experience of suffering. And perhaps that has only changed because she has dared to break the isolation of silence, and she knows that God has heard. I've kept a journal these past several weeks, and I've just simply jotted down other people's hurts as I hear them. Snatches of pain and hurt, worry and alarm that slip out in conversation or pour out in the passing. And as I've cataloged these pains, I've noticed that each one carries more weight because it joins so many others. You know what I mean? They express personal aches, but then there are these larger ones, communal ones, political ones. Intimate struggles are exacerbated because they hit a person who's already deeply troubled by the communal, by our global state. One on top of another, on top of another, layers of pain, layers of hurt. And so it's no wonder that overwhelm is very, very close to us all right now. Now, I have heard these words on the street, in Zoom rooms, in the hallway, on the subway, in the elevator, in the office, on the phone. I offer them to you. Listen with me with an open and broken heart. This is just some of what I've heard. I read the news this morning, and I'm utterly enraged. Looks like we don't have free speech anymore. When they go after comedians, you know you're in trouble. I'm worried about my friend. She's so depressed, so down, she's cut herself off from all of us, her best friends. We can't get to her. Every national institution is crumbling. The FBI, the CDC, the Fed is next. There are no guardrails left. I'm drinking too much. I know it. I'm deeply worried about my trans friends. Now they have to worry about being labeled domestic terrorists. What else will the right blame on them? I'm just so sad. No matter what I'm doing, I feel sad. My stomach has been sour for days. My brother lost his job with USAID. All of his friends are out of work. I am really worried about all of them. Violent, targeting rhetoric causes violent acts, period. We know this, and yet we forget how dangerous words are. Much worse, too many of us forgive them. I'm going to burst into tears. My friend just told me that her cancer is back and it's spread all over her body. She's my age. It's just not right. How many have to die in Gaza before the world thinks it's enough? How many children have to starve? So now racial profiling is legal? Nobody's safe from ICE. You have an accent, you don't speak English, you're brown, you're in the wrong place, you better watch out. What does it matter what I do? The world is on fire. The truth, facts, they're nowhere in our national conversation. It's like some grand delusion has fallen on the masses and we go along with the lies of the powerful. How stupid can we be? I've just shut down. What can I do? Maybe you've heard similar things. Maybe you've said similar things. Maybe you haven't said them, but you feel them nonetheless. Friends, this is grief. This is what grief sounds like. It sounds like anger and despair and rage and helplessness and sorrow. Now, Jeremiah knew it. We know it too. Our cries, they are cries of grief. And we can't underestimate the acute power of that grief that we're all experiencing right now. We have to tend to what hurts. Healing can't happen without that tending, and hope can't happen either. We are impacted by pain and worry and uncertainty, whether we admit it or not. So I look to the model and the practice of Jeremiah. He allowed himself to break open, to let it come out, not expecting that it would be resolved instantaneously, not expecting anything really, just letting it go, but more, taking it to God as a way of moving with it, through it. I think we really need to do likewise, to draw on our lamenting tradition. Sometimes When my words fail, I go to the modern lament that I can find in poetry. It can help me articulate what is sorrowing to me. It can pull out one emotion from the mass and tangle of all the rest. Worcestershire is a Somali British poet and writer whose voice gives powerful, powerful themes of displacement and belonging and womanhood and resilience of refugees. Her words have helped me name the conflicting tensions that are inside of me. She offers these lines, and I offer them now to you. They set my aunt's house on fire. I cried the way that women on TV do, folding at the middle like a 5-pound note. I called the boy who used to love me, tried to okay my voice. I said, "Hello." He said, "Warson, what's wrong? What's happened?" I've been praying, and these are what my prayers look like. Dear God, I come from 2 countries. One is thirsty. The other is on fire. Both need water. Later that night, I held my atlas in my lap, ran my fingers across the whole world and whispered, "Where does it hurt?" It answered, "Everywhere, everywhere, everywhere." Doesn't it? It hurts just about everywhere. And when everything seems to ache, we need a language, we need a theory, we need an understanding, we need a wisdom that can explain the enormity of it so that we can understand it just a little bit. So I go to the wisdom of Pauline Boss, a family therapist and a scholar. She coined the term, and maybe you've heard it, ambiguous loss. Her perspective gives us a way to frame the weight of our collective ache right now, not to fix it, but to help us understand its shape so that we can carry it more honestly, so that we can move with it. She writes, "We're in the middle of a global experience of ambiguous loss. We've lost our sense of normalcy. We've lost trust in institutions. We've lost the assumption that tomorrow will look like today. The loss of trust in a world as a safe place, and loss of certainty about our health care, education for our children, employment, and the rebuilding of our lives. And much of this grief is unnamed," she explains. She goes on, "Research shows that we do better to live with grief rather than to deny it or close the door on it. Our task," she teaches, "in a time of so much suffering, is to acknowledge our losses, name them, try to find meaning in them, and let them go, and let go of a quest for conventional closure." Friends, this is where we find ourselves, not outside of grief, but right in the middle of it. We know its sound and we know its weight. We even know its press on our bodies. And like Jeremiah and like the poet, we can dare to speak it, or at least to bring it before our God. So I'm going to invite you right now to take a moment with me. Lower your gaze, close your eyes, and simply breathe. Just breathe. In the quiet of your own heart, let the unspoken rise. Consider, where does it hurt? Try and feel what simmers beneath the surface, the ache, the sorrow, the despair, the anger, the worry, whatever hasn't been named yet. Silently name it now. Bring your burdens into God's presence. Breathe in, holding the weight of it all, and breathe out, letting some of it go. Breathe in and breathe out. Give it to God. Release. Let it go. Lift your eyes and look around. Friends, we are all struggling with how to stay in conversation with our grief. We are not alone in it. And none of what you named, none of what you haven't named is too much for our God. It is not too much. So let's not cut short our lament. And let's certainly not silence it altogether. Like Jeremiah's tears or Warson's aching question, our laments can remind us, believe it or not, that God is already in the unhealed place. Because where we acknowledge the hurt, that is where and when healing can begin.